You would think, based on the way that I feel right now, that I just spent the last week having a spring breaker college style vacation, when that could not be further from the type of trip that I just had to Mexico. I slept so good that entire week, and then the second I get back, the last 2 nights, I have not been able to sleep. But you know what they say. The show must go on. Alright, already the show goes on. Before I left for Cabo, I posted an Instagram story asking what videos you guys wanted to see on YouTube, and the responses to that made me realize it has been actually a really long time since we've done a life update Get Ready With Me. Okay, yeah, July 28th is when that last video went up, so it's been 7 months since we had a little chit chat like this. And that last video was pretty heavy because I was talking to you guys about the withdrawal that I had been going through coming off of my antidepressant medication, and then just like why I went on antidepressants in the first place. So if you haven't seen that video yet, if you're newer to my channel, maybe watch that one first, because I will give you guys a bit of a mental health update in this video, as well as just other not so heavy life updates. I'll talk to you guys about the trip that I just went on with Ryan. Just got back from Cabo 2 days ago now. And yeah, you know, just like what I've been up to since we last talked 7 months ago. But first, if you hear growling, wrestling in the background, I have these little rats here today. You're the cutest rats I've ever seen. It's legitimately negative 15 degrees outside. I don't want to talk about it. This winter has been so rough, and like even if it's 20 degrees I can handle that, but when it's this cold, obviously you can't walk dogs outside. It's dangerous. They can get frostbite on their toes. So editor Emily and I like to have our dogs play when we can't take them for a walk because it helps them get energy out. Right on cue. What should we start with? Maybe something... Okay, maybe something light and easy. I guess the first big thing that happened since my last video is that my brother got married a few months ago. He just turned 26, so his wedding was when he was 25, right? I'm like, why do I never know how old anybody in my family is? But yeah, I think it was that he got married when he was 25, proposed when he was 24. Is that right? I don't know. Super young, very Minnesotan to settle down that young. But everyone in my family was like, we cannot believe that this is the first wedding of our family. If you don't know this about me, I'm the oldest of 4. Certainly didn't think that my brother would be getting married before me. None of my sisters did. We were like, we thought you were gonna get married last. So that was just like such a fun, surreal moment to have our first family wedding like that. Like, I don't know, you never think that you're gonna be old enough to be at your siblings' weddings, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's the stage of life we're in. And thank God, I love his wife. He had the sketchiest taste in girls for a while, so I was like, I fear for who you end up with. And oh my God, by the grace of God, he picked an absolute gem. She's such a sweetie. If you ever see comments on my Instagram that are like, Sister Alex, Sister Libby, Sister Emily, those are my sisters and I. So Emily and Libby are my biological sisters, and then Alex is my sister-in-law. And for whatever reason, we just all refer to each other as like Sister Alex, Sister Abby. And I just texted them this morning, like, why did we start doing that? And nobody really knows. But Sister Alex is officially part of our family and an amazing addition, and it's just so fun to have like another sister. Now I have 3 sisters. And they got married up north at Pinewood, if any of you are from Minnesota and familiar with that. Gorgeous venue, highly recommend. It was just like a very cute romantic weekend. I loved it. After the wedding is when I would say my mental health is when my mental health started to slowly decline a bit. I think one of the big reasons just being that it had finally been several months since being off my medication. Some of my unhealthier, spicier thought patterns were starting to come back. But then on top of that, this TikTok ban was not only looming, but getting closer and feeling more and more real. And I know that I told you guys, oh gosh, what was it? Maybe in like my hair care favorites video for 2024, that I really needed a break from work. I was feeling super burnt out, and so I was planning on taking a full 2 weeks off around Christmas and around the holidays because it had been years since I did something like that, and I just really, really needed it. But that did not happen. I did take a break from posting long videos here on YouTube, but instead of just like fully taking a break, I then replaced the time that I would have been spending on that in filming and editing and uploading short form videos. Because of the fact that every single day that passed and we got closer to that TikTok ban, it just felt more and more likely that it was actually going to get banned. And like I also told you guys in that video, TikTok is a very large percentage of my income. I would say it's at least 50%, if not more. So feeling like that was just going to get ripped away from me and having no idea how that would actually play out after, like not understanding what that would look like and if that money would shift to other platforms or just completely go away was causing me a ton of stress. Side note, don't buy this concealer. I'm testing it one last time for new at the drugstore purposes because you guys know I have to test things multiple times to have my opinion, but I'm pretty sure I hate it. So if you're looking at the description box after this to see what products I used, maybe just don't buy this one. Anyway, I feel like I just was frantic in those last few weeks leading up to that ban, trying to pump out more content so that I could build up my Instagram and my YouTube via YouTube Shorts to try to make up for some of the losses that were going to happen by TikTok going away. And obviously, as all of us know, it did go away, but very temporarily. It was like less than 24 hours that it was dark, but it still is a very real possibility that that will happen again permanently. I think we have until like early April until we know what's going to happen for sure. So that's absolutely just like an ongoing source of stress and anxiety for me right now, and an ongoing reason why I'm having a really hard time shutting off work completely and stepping away completely. I feel like a lot of the unhealthy habits that I had with work, where I just was like on my phone 24/7 and not able to shut off even on the weekends at all, a lot of that started to come back during this period, which actually, strangely enough, also helps me to, what's the word I want to use here? Further believe, validate my belief that a lot of you guys told me that you believed to be true about me after my last Get Ready With Me video, which is that I think I have OCD. So when I posted that video talking about just like the health anxiety that I have and the obsessions with getting a terminal illness and dying, sorry, dark, I know, but there's no other way to say that. I saw a lot of comments being like, look into OCD. These are all symptoms of OCD. I have OCD and this is, you know, how I think. Just a lot of comments like that that made me so confused at first, because all I knew of OCD at that point is what's portrayed in the media, and the portrayal of OCD in the media is like very extreme in one way, and for so many people that have OCD, not at all an accurate representation of what it's actually like for them to have OCD. Like, I feel like my thoughts about OCD were stupidly, you guys will know what I'm talking about if you remember this. Remember True Life MTV? Oh, that was like from high school. I remember seeing a True Life I Have OCD, I think back when I was in high school or college, which I feel is like often how OCD is still portrayed in the media, where it's only obsessions with cleaning your hands excessively or organizing things and like having all of the labels facing a specific way, counting, tapping, like things that absolutely are symptoms of OCD, but are just one part of it that are not true for everybody who have it. So because of that, I was like, I don't have OCD. What are you talking about? But then I saw a DM from one of you guys that made me want to look into it further, because this person told me that they had had a lot of the same struggles as me related to health and anxiety around health, and that they had had a ton of success in seeing this psychologist that they recommended to me. So I looked into this psychologist because I've told you guys, like, I've had a really hard time finding therapists or anybody in that field who have been able to help me with the health concerns that I have specifically. Like, I've had success in therapy just for other general things, but finding somebody who understands how to help me with the health fears that I have has been really difficult. And upon looking into that psychologist further, and just the fact that they specialize in OCD, and then looking into what that means further, I was like, okay, yeah, I actually think I do have OCD. I think you guys were right. Because it would not only explain these irrational fears that I have about illness, but also my relationship with work. I have not been officially diagnosed yet because I only had my initial appointment with that psychologist. I actually was on the wait list for 6 months, but because I was told that it was very worth the wait, I was like, I'm waiting, I need help, especially knowing that I'm gonna be just like fully off medication. Like, this is the right thing for me to do, to find somebody to help me with all of these insane fears that I have. So I have my second appointment in a few days, and I'll definitely just like keep you guys updated along the way. But I wanted to say thank you not only to the person that messaged me with that recommendation, but also all of you that just suggested that I look into OCD, because if it wasn't for that, I don't know how much longer it would have taken me to connect those dots. And then on top of that, actually seek help for it. And for all of you that left comments on that last video saying that you have similar struggles and you also have these irrational fears about illness or health, I wanted to bring that up in case that is also something that would be helpful for you to consider and look into. Because I'm finally feeling like for the first time in maybe ever, there's potential for this to get better for me, which is a really great feeling. So that is my mental health update. Very incomplete, a work in progress always, but I am excited to keep you guys updated on my progress as I have more appointments with my therapist and just this journey and figuring out why my brain does what it does. Because it does some really terrifying things. I'll tell you that. Should we do a little Mexico recap? Love life update? Well, while we're just kidding. I told Ryan, I was like, everybody is gonna think that we're engaged after this, because I feel like you can't go on a trip starting from when you're like maybe 25 on. I feel like any trip you take with your significant other is like, are you gonna get engaged? Hold your horses. Not quite yet. But we had the most amazing trip in Mexico. We went to Cabo from Monday of last week through Sunday, and we did 5 days at a resort called Mi Cabo. It's like Me by Melia, I think is how you say that, which I was nervous about because I had read reviews that the hotel was beautiful, but it was extremely loud. And if you know me and my early to bed lifestyle, you would understand that that is a severe concern of mine. But neither of us had been to Cabo before, so we definitely wanted to be like more in the heart of it. If you've been there, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if not, I feel like there's kind of like two different areas that you could stay in. One is like Los Cabos, which is definitely a bit more lively. It's more walkable. There's just like a lot of restaurants and bars right around there. More hotels all lined up next to each other on the beach. And then it starts to spread out a little bit where the resorts are a bit further apart. It gets quieter, and then you're up in a different part of Cabo called San Jose del Cabo. So we were going back and forth on which part of Cabo we wanted to stay in, and because neither of us had been there before, we're like, let's do like Los Cabos, be right in the heart of it. Ryan's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's not gonna be that loud. I was like, I don't know, I'm nervous. And the reviews were correct. If I can find this video that shows the music after it had been turned down, I'm gonna put it in here, or editor Emily will. So that was on Thursday night, again, after they had turned it down. Before that, it was like 4 times as loud as that. We were just laying in bed like, oh my God. And even during the day, like starting before 11 a.m., they would start blaring music like that where you just couldn't really relax. I was really hoping to just like read a bunch and just chill, and like it was so loud that I wasn't able to do that, which was a huge bummer because the resort was really beautiful. The service was great. It just kind of felt like a mismatch. Like there weren't even that many people there. So I'm like, who are you playing this music for? There were some families, like older individuals. So it was weird. Like the first morning there, I went down to the beach to start reading on the beach, and they started playing music like that before 10 a.m. I looked at my phone, it was like 9:53, and I was like, oh my God, is this gonna be how it goes? And we actually met somebody there who had like spent the past week there, and he was like, on Friday and Saturday, the music is so loud that the building is shaking, and I had to leave and go in the parking lot just to like get a little bit of quiet because I couldn't even sit in my room. So, we decided to do 5 days at that resort and then spend our last few days at a different resort just to hopefully have a little bit more quiet. And that ended up working out really well for us. We were glad that we did that, even though again, the first resort was beautiful. It's like, we felt bad complaining about that because everything else about it was so nice. It just was like, yeah, that's not the vibe that we were trying to go for. But we loved the mornings before the music turned on there. We would just sit out on the balcony, look at the beautiful view, watch the waves crashing in, have coffee. We also really liked how walkable it was. We went to a bunch of cute restaurants right around there. And even though it was louder than we were expecting and I wasn't again able to like sit down and decompress and read, it still was really relaxing just to like hang out together by the ocean, and we had so much fun. We went jet skiing one day, which I thought was gonna be more fun than it actually was. I was such a big baby. I was so scared. I'll have Emily put in this video of Ryan scaring the absolute crap out of me.
3, 2, 1!
I hated sitting off of the back of that thing. I was like, I'm gonna fly off, and there were whales everywhere. Like, just, it was gorgeous, so beautiful. But I was like, I'm gonna fly off the back of this thing. I'm gonna get swallowed by a whale. But it made for funny memories and a funny video looking back, which is also what I would say for the rest of the trip. We just had like so much fun and we're dying laughing so many times. We always joke that we have like the kindergarten giggles. You know, when you were in school when you were little and you would get the giggles so hard, you just could not stop laughing. That's how we are together all the time, especially because Ryan's personality is just like so goofy and he doesn't care if he's embarrassing.
Real Mexico, baby.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, are you recording?
Like, we were sitting at breakfast one day, it's dead silent, and he looks around and he's like, we're in love, everybody. Like, stop. Just does not care if he's humiliating me. One of the hosts asked us if we were celebrating anything, and he was like, no, just love. He's just like that all the time, but is just like so fun, so positive, so full of life. Oh no, sunburned scalp is flaking. So even though he's like that all the time and doesn't care if he's embarrassing me, he is also so much fun to go on a trip with. He's just like the most positive, upbeat, fun, full of life person ever, which I feel is a really good match for somebody like me because I tend to run high stress. I worry a lot. I'm more of a realist than an optimist. So I just love being around him. I told him he lowers my blood pressure, which I've never had in a relationship before. I'm like, this is the most normal, regular, non-toxic relationship I've ever been in the best way. Everything is just easy. And I feel like now, at the age of 30, I finally understand what people mean when they say you just know you know, because that's exactly how I feel. Like, it's just that easy and breezy and healthy and supportive and like all of those things. And that's something that I never had before. Like, I feel like I was always one of those people being like, how do you know when it's right? Like, what if you love them, but like there are all these other things, and like it just shouldn't be that complicated. And I feel like in all of my other relationships growing up, there were just so many things that were complicated about it, and where it's like, looking back, like, we had no business being together. It obviously wasn't right, but of course, like, in order to actually learn that and be able to look back on that and understand it, like, you just have to go through it. But I feel like now I'm like, oh, this is what everyone was talking about. This is what it feels like when you've actually found your person, which a lot of people have asked me, I think, just because I've been really open with you guys over the last several years about my breakup struggles and relationships and dating. Just like, how do you know when it's time to call off a relationship? How do you know when something's not working anymore? And for me, because I'm a big sister, I feel like what has always pulled me through is thinking about whether or not I would want my little sisters in the relationship that I'm in. Like, I specifically remember being in one relationship and taking a step back and just being like, how would I feel if this was the situation that either of my little sisters were in right now? Like, would I be happy that this was the type of relationship that they were in? Is this the kind of person that I would want them to be with? And oh my God, I just remember sobbing because I was like, I'm gonna cry. Sorry, I get really emo when I think about my family, but I just remember sobbing because I was like, I would be so upset if my sisters were in a relationship like this. And like, if my sisters married somebody like this, like, I would be devastated as their big sister. And so that's always been something that I feel like I've been able to kind of fall back on to help me be grounded in moments when I maybe wouldn't be otherwise. Cause like, I feel like sometimes we allow ourselves to go through more painful things than we would ever want our loved ones to go through. And so even if you don't have siblings, like, I think thinking about your best friends or someone you really love, I don't know, that's something that at least for me has always been helpful. And now I'm like, Ryan's the exact type of person that I would want my sisters to end up with. Like, this is the kind of relationship that I can't wait for them to be in one day, and like, that they deserve because of all the things that I said. Like, it's just steady and easy, and he's the best. So yeah, he was right. We are in love, even if it's not quite my style to scream that in a dead silent restaurant. And he has also been just like so supportive through, I mean, a lot of the struggles I've had since we've dated, he was obviously there with me when I was going through withdrawals, and I saw some comments like, you know, how did that go with your boyfriend? Like, how did he handle all of that? And he just was so supportive and so there for me and so patient, because obviously, like, it was a roller coaster and I just was not myself for over a month. And again, he just was patient and rode the wave with me. And when I was having complete mental breakdowns over TikTok going away, he just, again, like, he's just kind of, I don't know, I'm like trying to think of the word, like maybe like an anchor for me or something, where I just know I can fall back on him when I'm feeling crazy and out of control. And I know that I can always count on him to just like be my voice of reason and help me to see the positive in things and remain optimistic. And I feel really lucky to be in that position, because I mean, you guys know it was a struggle for me dating. I never liked anybody. Like, there just was never anything that clicked for me until him. And both of us joke, like, if we weren't together, we 100% feel that we would still be single, because he kind of like had the same experience with me in dating, where there was never anyone that he was super excited about that felt right. He actually hadn't been in a relationship for way longer than me. Like, I think he said it had been almost 10 years since his last serious relationship before he met me. So anyway, hopefully that helps to give those of you that are single and feeling hopeless a little bit of hope, because I know a little over a year ago, I was feeling that exact same way. I feel like it was like a few weeks before I met Ryan that I had my annual appointment with my OB, and I was asking her about freezing my eggs, because I genuinely was like, I don't feel that I'm gonna meet anybody for me. Like, it did not feel like that was gonna happen for me. So don't give up hope is what I'm trying to say, because I pretty much had none left. And then shortly after that, I met Ryan, and the rest was history. That is beautiful. These are the new Makeup Forever Super Boost glosses. They're tingling and minty, and why do I feel like there's kind of like a floral taste? Something's weird about the taste, but the color, pretty. I'll definitely give you guys an in-depth review in a future video where I am reviewing all the new launches I've tested. But wow, I haven't loved a lip color like that in a really long time. Wait, before we go, I don't know if you guys would have seen this in the intro. Was that visible in the intro? Anyway, look at how cute this is. It makes me want to sob. That was the only thing that made Cabo unenjoyable. Well, also the fact that I broke my toe and Ryan got a really bad cold. I forgot to say that. Those were like the lows of the trip. He ended up getting a really bad cold, just like cough, like the full works. So obviously that puts a damper on things. You're not gonna have like the same level of energy as you normally would. And then I broke my toe completely sober and completely clumsy. I literally just didn't realize that there was like a step down to my beach chair, and it was on like brick, floor, stone, I don't know. So I went to step for the chair, but instead it was a step down, and I went with like my full body weight, and somehow my toe curled under my foot and fully broke my toe on vacation. And it was bruised like all the way up the top of my foot, and I was like limping so bad the first couple of days. I was like, this is classic. But the only other low of the trip was how much I missed Elsie. I literally felt sick over it the last couple days. I was like, I don't know if I can do a full 7 days away from her again. I feel so upset. And I was just living through the videos that my dad was sending me of her. God. But anyway, I got back from the trip and saw that I had this waiting for me, so I was like extra emo over it. This was actually a gift from, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I have 2 cosmetic chemist friends named Alex that I not only reference on this channel, but have had on this channel. I'll show you guys the one that I'm talking about here. She actually recently came out with her own brand / product launch, which is a microfiber towel that she specifically designed to be super absorbent compared to like all the other microfiber towels that exist, because she was having a hard time. I mean, she has even more hair than me. She was having a hard time finding towels that actually absorbed as much water as she wanted to. So she just made one herself. The brand is I don't know if it's Formula or Formule, one of the two, but this thing is insane. It makes my hair dry so much more quickly, like so much that I'm like, oh my God, I have to go way faster with my leave-in process now because of how much water this absorbs from my hair. It seriously is incredible. So I posted an Instagram story just like telling you guys that, recommending it, and she sent me this as a thank you.
Show them what you look like on your sweatshirt and how you match it.
Oh, I missed you so much. You don't even know. I would have cried. Not really, but I could have. So cute. Say goodbye, you two. So that is it for this Get Ready With Me. I am still feeling so foggy, so I'm like, what did I even say that entire video? I hope that this was an okay one. Let me know in the comments below if there are any specific topics you'd like me to cover in my next Get Ready With Me, if you have any specific questions for me that you want me to answer. I can definitely film the next check-in to answer those topics and questions sooner than 7 months from now. We won't go that long again. But I hope that you enjoyed this video nonetheless, and thank you so much for watching. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Stay tuned for my next video because that will be up a week from today, but until then, I hope you have a great week.